Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. I've been using it since it came out, and I thought I'd share my thoughts with you, but instead of doing a traditional review, I wanted to share the good and the bad, or the positives and negatives. So here's the first one. So the first thing is its design. The design is instantly recognizable as the latest and greatest, the future of phones. In fact, that's what it feels like you're holding when you're holding this. It looks better or nicer than anything else out there. You've got very minimal bezels on the bottom and top, and then on the bottom you have your speaker, your microphone, USB-C, and a headphone jack. Thankfully they included that as well and didn't follow Apple as far as that goes. On this side we have a dedicated Bixby button, volume up and down, nothing on the top except our SIM card tray and a microphone, and then we have our power sleep wake button on this side. On the back we've got our camera, fingerprint sensor, you've got your heart rate sensor, your flash, and then on the front you've got your forward-facing camera and your speaker here. So the design of it is just really nice. I definitely think it looks like the future of phones, and we'll see what comes out later, but right now this is the phone that looks the best. The next positive is the display. The display is huge on this device. It's 6.2 inches from corner to corner, and you'll see it's curved and wraps around the screen. It's 2960 by 1440 at 529 pixels per inch. It's a Quad HD Plus Super AMOLED display is what Samsung calls it, and I don't know that there's a better display on the market at this point. It's very vibrant. Things are really nice looking, maybe a little bit overexposed at times, and blacks are as black as can be because those pixels are off in pure black. The next positive is it's IP68 certified. That means it's dust and water resistant, so you shouldn't worry if you drop it into some water, you get in dusty situations. It should still continue to work no problem. And that's just about every phone nowadays should have that, and it's great to have it on this device. The next positive is its processor. It's got a Snapdragon 835. It's an octa-core processor that has 4 fast processors and 4 slower power-saving processors. And it never seems to lag. Everything is just really nice and fast and fluid. If we go into Bixby, you'll see it pops right up, go back, and it just works as you'd expect, and it's probably one of, if not the fastest feeling devices I've used in a long time, especially from Samsung. So that's a major plus in my opinion. The next positive is the cameras. The front-facing and the rear-facing camera are both great. The rear-facing camera uses a new sensor. It's a 12 megapixel sensor that's capable of 4K video recording, all the things you'd expect. It also has optical image stabilization, an f1.7 aperture, and it also has autofocus, and it looks really good. And take a look at some of the pictures it takes. They're very nice and vibrant. They look great, and stacked against others, you may see some that are better. In fact, I like the Pixel as far as the quality of the pictures a little bit better. I find the Galaxy S8 is a little bit overexposed, or maybe not as sharp in certain situations, but if it stands on its own and you're not comparing it to something else, they're going to look great no matter what. Now the forward-facing camera is also great as well. It's an 8 megapixel 1.7 aperture, and they've recognized that people take a lot of selfies and you want things to look good. We'll turn it on here and you'll see we'll flip the camera around and you'll see we can put things on our face. So if we hit this little button here, maybe we could do any one of these. Let's go back over here, put a space helmet on. You'll see it finds my face and draws this helmet on me, and it looks pretty good and works pretty good. We'll do one more, and you'll see if I open my mouth, it does some goofy effects. One more. So it's goofy, but it works well, and both cameras work really well. And all those effects are just fun to play with, and of course they work in Snapchat and different applications as well. The next positive is Samsung has not over-Samsungized this phone. It's pretty close to stock Android. The menus look pretty good. If we go into this menu, you'll see they don't look overly complex or anything goofy. It looks pretty stock as far as Android is concerned. And this is TouchWiz, but I've been using my own version on top of that. So if I go here, and then I'll go to Home, I've been using the Google Now launcher, but either way, you can use whatever you want, and I prefer this particular setup, but you can use whatever you want, and it doesn't look too much like TouchWiz when you're using it. So if you like it, you can change it. Also, you can change the back button since they're on screen now. So normally a back button on Samsung's on the right. I moved it to the left where it should be. Another positive is there's no more carrier markings on the phone. Samsung has regularly had Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile inscribed on the phone, depending on which particular version, things like that. But it's no longer there except on boot up. So if I turn this off, there is a Samsung and then a T-Mobile thing will pop up also when you boot the phone up. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot there. There's a couple pre-installed apps, but they're mostly apps you'd use, like your account and then also your voicemail, things like that. Otherwise, you can just move them or get rid of them. And so they've really left it stock as can be. The next positive is reception. Phone call reception is great. Phone calls sound great. And you'll see I have pretty good signal, and I find that my signal is better than on an iPhone, for example. It really has a great antenna, and I think that's because it's glass front and back. The final positive I have is its charging speed. It charges really, really fast. Now you can use the Samsung Quick Charge disc here. You set this off to the side, put this in here. You'll see it will charge, and it works great. It charges quickly, but probably twice as slow as if you plug it into the wall. So maybe you're down to 50%, you need another 50% as quick as can be. Just plug it in to the wall and you'll probably have that 50% in another 30 minutes or so. It's really quick and you don't have to wait around very long to actually have it charge. Now let's move on to the negatives. The first negative is that the price is really expensive. This is now an iPhone price device. This is $850 for this device with 64 gigabytes of internal storage. It does have external storage you can use micro SD for, but it's a really expensive price. The lowest priced one is closer to $700 for the smaller size, so you're going to pay a lot for it. Now there are carrier deals and things like that, but it's just an expensive device. But it is also a premium device, and I think it's justifiably the same price as an iPhone because it does so much. The next negative is it's very slippery. That's mostly due to its construction of glass front and back, and kind of to be expected, and most people will use a case, but it's so slippery that when I put it on my nightstand at night to charge, I had it laying on an iPad Pro smart cover just to give it a little bit of extra grip, and I found it on the floor in the morning. So it's definitely recommended to get a case, especially if you drop your phone a lot. It feels good in the hand and it doesn't feel slippery when it's in your hand because of the glass. Your fingers kind of stick to it. Other than that though, in everyday use where you're setting it, it's going to slide all over. The third negative is the speaker. It only has one, and unlike the Nexus 6P, I know the Pixel doesn't have one, but I loved when we had dual front-facing speakers, and it may be a little bit harder with this design. The speaker is nice and loud and it works okay, but in general, it's just one small speaker, and it gets loud, but not really as good as if you had dual speakers. It is clear, though, and you can hear what's coming out of it, so that's pretty good. The fourth negative is you have to wait for Samsung updates. You don't get updates as you do with a Nexus or an iPhone where they come out regularly. You have to wait for Samsung to push them through the carrier. Now, that said, this has already gotten 1 to 2 updates on T-Mobile for different security or issues they were having with it. I haven't really had any issues, but there were those updates. So that may or may not be a negative, I'm not sure. The last negative, and there really aren't too many negatives about this device, is the battery. It's a 3500 milliamp hour battery, and as big as that is, it still wasn't giving me great screen on time. Let me go into the battery to show you. Now here's Samsung's battery manager, and you'll see it says 48 hours left. That's not exactly true. If I go into the battery itself, to battery usage, and then go to screen right now I've got 4 minutes of screen on time. Now what I've been finding is, and it's recently been charged, but what I've been finding is screen on time is usually 3 to 4 hours with this device. Standby is great. You could leave this for days with nothing going on. But if you're using it, you're going to have to charge it at the end of the day. And that's not unusual for a large smartphone, but maybe I have a lot going on. I've tried some different things and still pretty much get 3 to 4 hours screen on time. There are some others that have gotten much better battery life. That said, I am checking 4 different email accounts. I'm not using it any differently than I use my Pixel or my iPhone, and I get better battery life on the Pixel and iPhone. However, it's easy enough to charge it with a fast charger and things like that. So that's it for the S8 Plus. I didn't mention the fingerprint reader as a negative because it's really not an issue for me. I can just feel where it is and turn it on. It's going to be different for different people, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any other negatives or positives, let us know there as well. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.